So recording now. All right. So we are here, Erickson Coaches Café. So a couple of ground rules, everyone. Please feel free to use the camera. We'd love to be able to see you. And the best way to use the camera is really where you see everyone on the top. I believe it's called gallery view. So you see everyone in a gallery along the top, and then the main speaker will be on the front page. Now, I'm not sure why this is not working correctly tonight. It's probably because it's the first Coaches Cafe, and anything that will go wrong will certainly go wrong. Okay, a few things. Please turn off your pagers, your cell phones, your iPads, your iPods, your iWatches, your iToasters, your iFilms, your iMic. You get the idea. Turn all of those off.
There's a Bill Gates fan, I think.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And if you need to mute yourself, if you've got private conversations or you're sniffling or you're banging on things or making dinner, make sure that you're on mute. Okay, I encourage you all, if you're playing with the idea of building your own business, or you're very serious about your own business, about building your own business, the reason I'm having these calls is to give you an experience, a little experience, not much, an hour, of what it will be like to be in the course itself. Now, there's a course coming up in October, The Art and Science of Business Building. I spent, just to give you a little story on my backstory, I went through the program at Erickson in 2011, 2012. And then I TA'd for 2 years. And then I've been a trainer with Erickson for nearly 4 years. So I've trained a lot of the modules, and a lot of you in the class tonight, I've trained you in some, amazing you came back, but I've trained you in some capacity or other. And when I was out there after the program, trying to build my business, I spent close to 5 years doing Facebook. You name it, I did it. I took marketing courses, I took advertising courses, I took selling courses. I hired a marketing manager to put this $10,000 massive marketing plan together for me. And I got some results, but I was still making, 20 grand a year, which, doesn't even pay my rent. And a little over 2 years ago, well, probably 3 years ago, I met Steve Chandler. And Steve Chandler is kind of the grandfather of coaching. He's one of the main, he's been doing it for a long time. And I hired him as my coach. And within 6 months of coaching with Steve, my whole business it did a whoop-de-loop. It did a 360. And as a result, my coaching business today is, I work with 9 clients per year. I work with a couple of companies in between. And that's it. All my clients are referral and invitation only. I don't do any more marketing. I don't do any more selling. I don't do pushing, grabbing, trying to get clients. And I was so blown away by what Steve was teaching that I signed up for his program, for his ACS program. It's like when all said and done, traveling and food, and it's like a $30,000, $40,000 program. And I went through that, and I said to Steve, I said, do you have an online version of this? And he said, no, I'm not interested. And I said, the coaches at Erickson, they have to learn this stuff. And he said, well, you put it together. And I thought, I will. And so for the past year or so, that's what I've done. Now, you've all gotten the email with the breakdown of the program and everything. So we're going to, we'll talk about that later. So tonight, I want to take the next 55 minutes and as powerfully and as greatly as I can serve you coaches. And the only way I can do that is to share what I've learned from Steve. And what I've learned from my own, I've mentored with Michael Neal, George Pransky. So I've learned a lot of just wonderful things. And it's a new way of building your business. It's not this old paradigm of, creepy salespeople and cold calling and marketing plans and tier building and what do you call it? The diamond, all of that stuff. Pyramid selling, none of that stuff. If I could give you the whole program in one line, just in case you don't come back, I'm going to give it to you now. It would be to serve people really well. Now that sounds very simplistic and very, oh yes, Dermot, everyone says that. But by the end of the evening, by the end of our time together, I think you'll have a different understanding of what that means. Because when Steve said that to me, Dermot, if you just went and served people, I said, oh yeah, I know all that, Steve. Serve the people. Yeah, I get it. And he said, no, you don't get it, Dermot. He said, and I can tell why you don't get it because of your bank balance. And I thought, okay, I can't argue on that one. Because one of the things he said, Dermot, show me your bank balance and I'll tell you how deeply you're serving people. And I did, and he said, okay, we got some work to do. Arlene, you're very welcome. Okay, so each of these coaches cafes will have a base of topic, something that I'm going to speak to in coaching, something that has just made a huge difference in me building my own coaching business. So I'm going to talk about that tonight. But I want you to really use these conversations to answer everything's up. There's nothing not for talking about tonight. To use these conversations tonight to talk about anything that you are blocked, you're stumbling, you're getting in the way, things that are not working in your business, things that you're just having a hard time with in your business. We're going to talk about all of that. So thumbs up. Does that sound like a good use of our 40 or 55 minutes? All right, beautiful. Okay. Now I may go off on track, and your job is to bring me back. Your job is to make sure that tonight you get all of your questions answered. So I'm going to invite you to think about tonight. What's one question in terms of business building? What's one question? Everyone here tonight, they're all Erickson coaches. You're either, and I'm pretty sure everyone is already complete. I know, looking at everyone here, you've all completed the program. So the question I have for you is, what's the question that you would like to have answered tonight? Like take a moment, if you don't already know, and just ask yourself, what is the question that you would like to have answered tonight? Okay. So I'm going to share something for about 5 minutes, and then we're going to go into the Q&A for the rest of the time together. I'm going to share something that made a huge difference in my business building. I mean, and when Steve said it to me, I laughed at him. In fact, I've laughed at Steve quite a bit, because he would tell me these things, and I'd kind of be like, well, yeah, Steve, I read that on a flyer somewhere. But when I started doing the things that Steve was talking about, it made such an impact on my business. because I don't like cold calling. I don't like marketing. I don't like selling. I don't like secret selling. I don't like that. That's not me. That might be other people, but it's not me. I don't like that. I don't like people tricking me into buying stuff. I don't like getting emails from LinkedIn and Facebook asking me to buy stuff I have no interest in. What I do like is having an experience of somebody or something that they're offering and allowing that something, that experience to impact me. And so one of the things that I learned from my coach, it's called slowing down. Now, before, when I was building my business, I would spend time in my office here on the whiteboard. Every day I was answering emails. I was writing LinkedIn blog posts. I hired someone to build me a whole LinkedIn page. I hired someone to build me a whole Facebook. Now, all of that stuff is great. I'm not saying it's not. It's wonderful stuff. But it wasn't working for me because there's a billion people on Facebook and LinkedIn and all those things. And so one of the things that I was doing was running around, sending out free videos, writing emails to people to try and get them to come and talk to me, blogs, just a lot of stuff that just wasn't working. And I was spending a lot of my time. I built a website, a very expensive website, took a year, and I spent a year. Wasn't coaching anyone. I was just building the website for a year. And people would say, Dermot, you're coaching. No, I'm building a website, and that's going to bring all the clients in. That's what I thought. Anyone relate to building websites thinking that's what's going to work? Yeah, okay. A few people. You can go on my website. It's a very expensive website. You can look at it. And so one of the things that he talked to me about was slowing down. Now, this is how this played out in my coaching practice. I started slowing down and look at what was I doing in my practice that wasn't working. Like, really? Where was it in my practice that I actually was not making any money? All these things that I was doing, and slowing down enough to look at where was I making money with my clients. So what activities were making me money and what activities were just thinking that they were making me money, right? Can you guys relate to this at all? Okay, all right, good. And when I slowed down, and Steve said to me, Dermot, I want you to slow down, because I was running around just chasing my own thinking. And he said, I want you to think of somebody that your coaching would help. To give me a name. And I said, I gave them a name, John. And he said, now tell me about John. I said, well, John has a small business. And John, I know, is struggling because he told me the other day that he's struggling with his small business. And he's very stressed out with his business. And things are just not going well for him. He's running around. It's a service-based business. And he's running around trying to get clients. And he has absolutely no structure and so on and so on. And then he said to me, second question. So who do you know that your coaching could help? Second question. How would your coaching help that person? And so I shared with Steve. Well, I said, Steve, I know that I could really help him to build a foundation for his business. I know that I could help him to slow down now that I'm slowing down. I know that I could help him with his stress. I've learned processes, I've learned tools in Erickson to help people to look at their stress and help people to slow down. And I said I could help him with all of that. I said, I even know this thing called wheels, where I could create a wheel for him for his life and have his business on one wheel and his personal life on another wheel. And Steve just kept asking me, tell me more about this person. And what happened was I became more like Sherlock Holmes and less like the robber. Because see, the robber's interested in getting stuff, right? But Sherlock Holmes, he's no interest in the money. He's no interested in what he's going to get from a person. He is totally and utterly interested in one thing. How can I help this person? He's interested in the case, right? And Kelly, if you could put yourself on mute, welcome. He's interested in the case. Now, as coaches, when I was first starting out, I was the robber. I was interested in getting a client, making money. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. I love money. And someday when I have millions and millions of dollars, I'm going to pay to have some magic treatment to make my hair grow back like it was in the 80s. I missed the mullet. Totally forgotten what I was saying now. I totally went back to the 80s. So
it was about the case instead of the...
thanks, Jay. All right. Sherlock is interested in the case. Now, as coaches, if you can slow down enough to start to look at one person. I said to Steve, how do I get clients? I'm broke, right? And he said, Dermot, the best way to get lots of clients. And then he paused. I said, yeah. He says, to get one client. One client. Coaches are running around, myself included, and I was running around emailing this person, blogging that person, vlogging that person, YouTubing that person, linking that person. And when I slowed down enough to just look at one person in my life that I could serve. Now, I went to that person and I said, look, John, I can tell, I sat down and I really thought about your business. Now I've got John's attention. Dermot, you sat and you gave time to think about my business? I did, John, yeah. I gave a few hours. And I wrote down all these things that I can see is not working well in your business based on what you've told me and what I've observed. And I looked at your business online and I could see a few things. And I wrote down all the ways I can help you, John. Would you like me to email it to you? I would. That would be great, Dermot. I emailed it away. John emails back. Said, Dermot, this coaching thing, tell me a little bit more. And I said, John, I don't tell anyone about coaching because I can tell you how great an apple is, but until you eat it, you won't know. So I said, come and have an experience with me of coaching, and let's get some of these things that are going on in your business, let's take care of them. Now, after that, whatever it was 2 hours, usually I do an hour, hour and a half. I said, after that time together, John, this may be enough. You may be good. But if you're not and you want to do some coaching, then let's sit and we can talk about putting a coaching, some coaching sessions together for you. And that's it. It's really simple, folks. I used to think coaching was rocket science. It's not at all. So I've talked for long enough. Let's open it up to you. And again, feel free to use your camera or not. If there's dinosaurs in the back, fighting, then feel free to keep the camera off because I'll get scared. But let's open it up to Q&A now. Any questions on what I've shared or any questions on coaching your business in general? What are you bumping up against? Who'll start us off? And at least 10 people should get a chance to talk. So please use this time. That's what it's there for. And while you guys are all thinking, let me share my desktop because I had a really great picture I wanted to show everyone tonight. This is a coach in training. We're starting this little guy off you can see very early, but he's got the glasses, so he's on top of things. All right, who's going to start us off? Who'll dare to go first? Murray. Oh yeah, by the way, sorry guys. Down on the bottom, there's a chat box. If you click on the chat box, and hey Nicholas, and next to the chat box, there is, let me see, there's a participant box. And if you click on that, and then you can just raise your hand. Let me see if I'm talking nonsense here. Yeah, if you click on, I think it's the participants window, you'll see a thing there that says raise hand. All right, so Murray, and then I see Jennifer. Murray, take it away, and you are on mute, Murray.
Yeah, I should be off now. I can totally agree. I'm sure most of it, I won't speak for everybody, but for myself, I can certainly agree, or to everything that you said. I guess what I've run into is, how do you stay motivated when you even had to, like, you offered the free stuff, things are going, and it just, all the wheels fell right off, and you can't get anyone to go. So I guess for that, and that's what I've run into. Even with, we're still doing triads, and it's kind of like, don't want to do this anymore. So it's getting to the point where it's discouraging, and I'd like to get through that.
Now, when you say motivated, Murray, what do you mean? Like motivated to be building your business, or?
Yeah, I would say along that lines, because if I don't build a business, then what am I doing coaching for? You know what I mean?
Well, you've hit on something really, really important, because there are different and I'm just trying to think of there's three types of coaches, Murray. There's the coach who is a self-development coach, which is someone who loves self-development, loves listening to MP3s, and loves talking to his friends over coffee and helping them with stuff, right? And then there's the part-time coach. And this is one of the things that I coach my students on. The part-time coach is a coach who has a full-time job, 9 to 5, 4 or 5 days a week. And he's the kind of coach that is just working on a few clients every month. It's a part-time coach. And by the way, I'm not saying any of these are good or bad or indifferent. I'm just giving you 3 different ways to look at this. And then there's the full-time coach. The guy who decides, the girl, who decides that, hey, I really want to build a business. I want to move out of what I'm in, and I want to move into being a full-time coach. I want to travel. I want to be able to do it online. I want to make a living from coaching alone. Now, I happen to know that you're that type of person, because we've talked before. So once you really get clear about what kind of a coach you are, then you can start to look at what's involved, right? So you want to be a full-time coach, right? Yeah, okay, so that hasn't changed. So, and you want to be motivated to build your business. But see, I'm gonna challenge that a little bit, Murray, because are you motivated to hug your wife?
Yes.
I mean, you don't need motivation, right?
Well, it's, love, of course. So that kind of motivates me.
Right. Okay. Now, do you have kids, Murray? I don't think you do, right? Oh, you do. Oh, only 5. All right. Never mind. I was only 5 kids off, so that's pretty close with the 0. Do you need to be motivated, Murray, to hug them?
No.
Now, why is that? Why is it you don't need to be motivated?
Well, once again, it's the feeling of love, but it's just something more of I guess a parental instinct.
Yeah.
To show them affection, to show that you care, to form that bond.
You got it. You got it. So your motivation comes from your caring. Would that be fair to say, Murray?
Yes.
Okay. So now let's go back to your question. So you said, Dermot, how do I stay motivated to build my business? But the answer is the same way that you are motivated to hug your kids and hug your wife, Murray. The answer is the same. Care, right? You could say serve. So now let's ground this a little bit so we don't get too wooey. You pick one person in your life, Murray, that you know in some way, shape, or form that you care about and that your coaching could help. Right? So give me a person. In fact, I'll tell you what we'll do, Murray. Let's go a little bigger for you because I know you like things bigger. So let's go a little bigger. And this is for everyone, by the way. All these mini laser coaching sessions, they're for everyone. I'm not just picking on Murray. Because look at the size of the guy. I'm not going to mess with him. On site, but online. All right. So let's look at this, Murray, this motivation, because it's a big one and deserves a few minutes. Give me the name of a company, Murray, that you would love to work with. In other words, you'd love to go online or you'd love to go to that company and coach executives, the employees. Like, what would be a company that would you'd be like, wow, boy, if I could get in there, that would be something. Or a small business, if that's easy.
Yeah. No, there'd be a big company. I know my wife has a thing that she does. And it's funny you mentioned like the 3 types of coaches and like the personal development. And that's huge, especially in businesses and stuff like that. So I'd say maybe like I've always had this bit of a dream or vision where I coached a bunch of people on stage type of thing, right? And I don't know, Tony Robbins type of thing. I don't know if that's really my style type of thing, but it's something along those lines. So to nail down a company, not really. I would just pick that one just out of the blue if I were to pick one, because it kind of falls like they do have confidence.
What's the company's name, Murray?
Neora.
Neora.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I can guarantee you, Murray. Well, actually, let's play this out. So why Neora? What do you think that you could bring to the table in Neora? How could you serve Neora? How could you make them a better company? How could you help them? In what way would your coaching do that?
One of the things I've been researching lately is about motivation. And anybody that's in social media sees a million, ooh, look at these posts. Everything's great. I'm motivated. And yet nothing changes. And I'm discovering a correlation between motivation and relationships, building relationships, not this, hey, look at me, I'm on my smartphone or social media, all the likes that I get, right? So for me, it would be about really focusing on establishing and building and maintaining relationships and not worried about, like you said, like the Facebook or the websites and stuff, that's all great. But no human interaction or contact.
Murray, I'm going to bring you back.
Okay.
I think we've gone sideways.
Imagine that. I went sideways. I bet you're surprised.
Tell me about Neora. Tell me how you could help them. What's one thing that you could help them with?
It would be the motivation.
Okay, the motivation.
For people to really drive forward.
Motivation. What else?
I guess to really help them get unstuck.
Yeah.
To get them unchained.
Where are they? Do you know where they're stuck?
And their self-limiting beliefs.
Okay. All right. So I know you can help them with that because you've learned some great things at Erickson for that. Okay. Mm-hmm. So take a moment, Murray, and just let that sink in. That, hey, I could help Neora. I could help them with motivation. I could help them get unstuck with their self-limiting beliefs. Now, what did that do for your motivation, Murray?
My own motivation.
Yeah, did it move you forward a little bit, or did it move you backwards?
No, it moved up.
Right.
You could feel it, and then it's like kind of lifted up a little bit.
Yeah, and you're smiling. I could tell. Okay, so now let's take it a little further. So if I were to say to you, Murray, and by the way, I'm doing everything my coach did to me because I came to him with this, so it's retribution. All right. Kelly's laughing in the background, so okay, we're being entertaining to this. Good. Welcome, Kelly. What if you were to sit down tomorrow, Murray, and you were to give 1 hour of your valuable Murray time to looking at going online, going to LinkedIn, going to websites, whatever, looking at Neora and looking at what are these guys struggling with? What am I seeing here? I'm into motivation. I know a lot about it, and I know you do because we've talked before. And I know that I can help these people. So where is it they're not motivated? Where is it their beliefs are being are limited? Where is this place being stuck? Well, I don't see anything unlearned, Dermot, but I know my friend Mary over here, she works for the company. So I'm going to call her and find out, hey, what's going on with your company? What are you guys dealing with? What are you struggling with? What are you challenged with? You know, what is it? How would someone make your company better? And I guarantee you, Mary from Neora would tell you everything. She'd give you a full description. She'd even email it to you, Murray. Now, where do you think your motivation would be after taking some time to actually look at this company, Murray?
Probably pretty high.
Pretty high.
Definitely be much higher than it is now, yes.
Because if you're looking to motivate yourself to make phone calls, not going to happen. But if you look at ways to serve people, in the same way that when you look at your kids, all you want to do is hug them. If you do that, you know, you don't have to hug companies because the buildings are quite big. But if you look at ways to serve one company, Murray, now you know what happens. And by the way, I'm speaking from experience. When you go to that company and you say, hey, I took some time and I really thought about your company. And I really took some time and researched your company. Now, who do you think is going to get in the door quicker, Murray? The 100,000 emails that say, hey, I'm a coach, hire me. Your company's great. Or the guy who says, hey, my name is Murray, I'm a professional life coach. And here's what I see your company is struggling with. And here's how I see ways that I can help you. Give me 1 hour of your time and I'll change your life. And not on your lunch break. Don't go to companies on their lunch break. Don't do it. You're a professional coach. You're not a needy coach. You're a professional coach. So, yeah, come in on my lunch break. I say, no, I won't come in on your lunch break. And they say, what? I say, I won't come in on your lunch break. I'm a professional life coach. I said, you give me 1 hour of your time uninterrupted, not at your lunch break, and I'll show you what coaching can do for you and for your company. Now that's powerful, Murray. I know because it works. I know it works. Good for now, Murray? You got your homework? You're going to email me?
Yeah, of course I will. Yes.
All right. Thanks, Murray.
No
And
problem.
Murray, that was helpful for everyone, by the way. So thank you.
No problem. And thank you as well. Thank you so much.
Okay. Who else? What else? What questions do you have?
Hello.
Hello, Christine.
Yes.
How are
Hi.
you, Christine?
Great.
Christine, have I had the pleasure of facilitating your training anywhere in Erickson?
No, you have not. I'm in New York. I was certified last year. And so I've been interested in coaching for a couple of years, but really just kind of getting the business part of it started. Have coached a few clients through referrals and have tried to gain some traction through social media, trying to build the website and things. And I'm just thinking, I think it's a two-part question. One, right now I am a part-time coach because of my full-time job. So how
That's
do
really great to know that, by the way, Christine. Because that takes the pressure off. So many coaches are part-time coaches, but they don't know it.
Sure.
And they're running around and they're trying to get the clients, and really it's just a part-time gig. So that's great that you know that right now. That could turn into a full-time coach, but just the fact that you can let yourself, hey, I'm a part-time coach right now, and I'm doing this and this. Wonderful, wonderful. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So how would I know, or how do I transition into a more full-time coach? And number two, I'm also working on finding my niche, my coaching niche. So I find that I have different areas that I could work with, and through working with clients, I see that as well. But it's kind of been difficult for me to narrow down who exactly my target audience is.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like I want to help and serve everyone, but obviously it's better if you kind of focus more on the ones that you can really help.
Okay. All right. So let me see if I have this correct. So your first question is moving from a part-time to a full-time coach.
Yes.
Your second question is about your niche or your target audience. All right.
I come from a marketing background, so
And I did that purposely because I said that to my brother. That's what he did. All right. Okay. There was I'm going to tell you a story, Christine.
Sure.
There was a man, and his name was Tom, and Tom was a coach. But in Tom's previous career, he was a rodeo clown. And anyway, Tom decided, hey, I used to be a rodeo clown, so my niche, I'm going to coach rodeo clowns.
Mm-hmm.
And he was so excited. Hey, I know these people. I know what they struggle, getting hit with the horse and the cow and the horns and the whole thing, and the pants falling down and all that different thing. And he was on an airplane and he was going to New York. And he was sitting beside this guy. And the guy says to him, the guy started talking to him, and the guy started, just as people do, just started sharing a little bit about his life, and started telling Tom about his life and some of the things that he was struggling with in his business and some of the things he was struggling with at home, and he got a little personal as some people do. And he turned to Tom and he said, Tom, what do you do? And Tom says, I'm a life coach. you're a life coach? So, oh my God, how lucky is that for me? And Tom says, well, no, I'm sorry, but I only coach. Well, he says, let me ask you a question. Are you a rodeo clown? And the man said, no. And Tom said, oh, I'm sorry. I only coach rodeo clowns. Now, what do you make of that story, Christine?
Well, I think I get what you're saying. We are able to help everyone, and we don't necessarily have to have one niche that we stick to. So how do I build a business if I just say I'm like a general life coach?
See, here's the thing. So you come from a background of sales, Christine. So you understand this better than most.
Right.
That now, I'm not saying not to have a niche. Now, when my journey was, when I started, I coached only men in business. And then their wives started seeing an improvement in them, and they started calling me to coach them. And for a while I said, no, I only coach men in business. I only coach men. I don't coach women. And then I'd be out camping or doing something, and somebody would be talking to me, and I go, oh my God, I could really help this lady. And so then I started coaching men and women in business. And then other people from their friends started noticing, and they started calling me and saying, Dermot, I have this friend, Mary. Now she's got 4 kids. She lives at home. She's a mom, a working mom, at home, at the house. And would you coach? She doesn't work in a business. Would you coach her? And I said, yeah, okay. It's not my niche, but I will. And so I'm not saying not to get a niche, but the old paradigm of marketing, Christine, as you well know, is being an expert in one area. Mm-hmm. You know, being an expert in that field. And what I've found is that whether you niche it or not, it really doesn't matter. Like, did you hear the example I did there with Murray?
Yes.
So, okay, so let's say do you have a favorite niche that you're looking at? Do you have someone, like a niche should be this, Christine. Wow, I would give my left arm and my right arm, okay, well, just my left arm, to coach these people. Mm-hmm. Like for me, when I started out, I also, at some point I did nonprofits. So is there a niche in that respect? Not that, hey, I want to make myself look really professional, so I better have a niche. That's not going to get you clients. But if you say to yourself, hey, boy, I would love to work with nonprofits, or hey, I would love to work with rodeo clowns, mm-hmm. That's a different space where you're coming from. So do you have somebody like that?
I think there's a few in my head, only because I can relate to these experiences. So I feel like I can help them the most. And one of them is, my full-time job right now is real estate sales. So it's kind of like what you were saying to Murray about, I do cold calls. So how do I convert cold calls into and leads into sales? It's because I'm not really selling them. I don't like really actually selling. And that's why I like coaching. I like the engagement part of it, the conversation, and helping the people with their daily lives and with an important transition in their life, which is real estate, and not only real estate, but a big life change. So I think that part of it I've been thinking about integrating, but I don't know if I necessarily want to only coach real estate agents. I don't think that would be the niche. I've also coached people who were bringing wanting to bring more passion and creativity into their daily lives and into their work. So those were a couple that I've been interested in.
See, it's called life coaching
Mm-hmm.
For a reason, Christine. And I'm not trying to be flippant, but it's called life coaching because if you're alive, then I'm getting goosebumps. I want to coach you, you know? And here's another way you could play with this, Christine. I did for a while because I struggled with the niche thing as well. So I understand where you're coming from. I had 4 different niches: nonprofits, men in business, women. I had 4 different ones. And what invariably happened in all of those was I would start down that road of niche, and then other people would come in from different backgrounds and different niches and different locations. And so my invitation to you is to work with the people that you'd really like to work with and stay open to having other people come into your business, you know, because it can be limiting, which is what I was kind of flippantly doing with the story. It can be limiting to just have one niche, because then people who see you and hear about you, and then they see, oh, I'm a professional, I work only with rodeo clowns. Oh, I'm not a rodeo clown, so now Christine can't help me. You know?
Yeah, it's just an internal, I think, process for me, because there are also times when people are like, well, what kind of life coach are you? and then I want to say, I can help you with a lot of things, but
well, here's how you answer that, Christine.
Yeah.
Now it's called sharing case. Did you hear my MP3? It's on the Erickson, Coaches Café, about sharing case stories and histories.
Yes.
Yeah. So, anytime somebody says, oh, you're a life coach, well, what do you do? How can you help me? Or, what kind of a life coach are you? And I say, well, what's going on in your life? Tell me about it. I'll give you 5 minutes. Tell me a little bit about it. Well, I got this and this and this. That's the kind of life coach I am. I help people all day long with stuff like that.
Right.
And that's good enough. Mm-hmm. Now, in terms of your other question of moving, Christine, from part-time to full-time, I tell all the coaches I work with, do not give up your day job. Mm-hmm. If you have to start as a part-time coach, do that and work up from there. But do not quit your day job, because what happens is if you have a daytime job and you don't need the money for coaching, like it's not paying your rent, that's a great place to be in, because now you're not coming from a needy place. You're coming from an exploration. You're coming from, wow, who would I really love to work with? Wow, I would love to work with these people in sales, selling houses, real estate agents. I'd love to work with them. I know what they're up against. I know what they struggle with. And I would love to help them. Mm-hmm. And so then you start reaching out in that way. To go from a part-time to a full-time is really simple. It's called time and attention, Christine. And it means that if you're clear that you're a part-time coach, and if you put a little more time and attention on building your business every month, and that could be maybe, sitting down and thinking about who you'd like to work with, or one person that you'd like to work with, and coach them and serve them and just give them such a powerful experience of coaching that they say, hey, I want more of this. Mm-hmm. Because it's like the housing business. It's referrals. Hey, Christine helped me sell my house. You should talk to her. She's amazing. Coaching works the exact same way. So how to move from a part-time to a full-time, Christine, is put a little more time and attention on, get one client, start with one, serve that client powerfully, and then go from there. And you will notice that the more time and attention you put on building your business, you'll move from a part-time to a full-time coach.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Christine. Very, very great conversation. All right. Who else, everyone? What else are you bumping up against in your business? And trust me, when I say that I went through 5 years of doing everything and anything, that is the truth. So when you talk to me, I get it. I totally get it. All right.
Dermot, this is Paula.
Hey, Paula.
Hi. When I've been exploring my niche, I've been told to find something that really makes me stand out from the crowd, something that I have experience with and that I'm passionate about. So for me, that falls into actually 3 categories, and they're not really related. So one of them is to do with recovery coaching for people who have gone through like transplant or some other major health issue.
Wow.
So that's from my own experience is I had a lot of great help, but what wasn't there for me was I'm given the second chance at life. What do I do with it? So that's what I want to coach around. So that's one. One is bereavement, something I've also have experience with volunteer-wise. And the third one is I'm passionate about mixing dance and body movement with coaching, because I find a lot of great answers from within can come through body movement. So, when I'm looking at those things, I'm looking at what really makes me stand out and what am I passionate about. I'm just curious what your take is on something like that.
Okay, do you see that?
Yeah.
I created that because I had about 20 projects. Well, not 20, that's no, but like 7 different areas of coaching that I wanted to work with at one point. And one day I came to my coach and I said, look, Steve, I've got 3 different areas that I'm really interested in. And it wasn't specifically coaching, it was I want to do training over here, I want to do public speaking over here, and I want to coach small businesses over there. And he listened patiently as he does. And I said, but I don't really know, I'm passionate about all of them, and I don't really know which one where to go. So is that kind of your question too, Paula?
Yes, yes. Mm-hmm.
And he said 2 words to me, Paula, which I'm going to say to you, and I mean them with all the love and respect in my heart. Pick one. Just pick one. Like, which of those, Paula, in this moment, now overthink this. Which one of those would you really love to start with? Which would make your heart sing? Which one could you bring a lot of love to?
It'd be the health recovery.
Yeah. And I heard it in your voice, by the way, when you were talking about it. Anyone else hear that in Paula's voice? Yeah. You even smiled a little bit when there was less of a frown. So start there.
Okay, thank you. Just start there and just see where it goes. And
so let's talk about starting there, Paula.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about a first step. So do you know someone? Is there someone you'd like to connect to? Is there someone you'd like to help? Is there a company you'd like to connect to? A person within a company? So what's the first step for you? So you've already thought of this, Paula.
Yeah. So I'm a volunteer for the Kidney Foundation doing peer support, and I met with the manager in town here a couple months ago, and I was really shocked at how underutilized the system is. So right there, it's like what you suggested before about going to a company and saying, here are the things that I've noticed that you need improvement with, and this is what I can help you with. I can totally see that.
Now, would this be doing like a little presentation, Paula, like a little talk, or would you go in there and say, look, one of the things that I found very helpful, I've done this with companies, when they say, oh, I don't really know, Dermot, we don't really need a coach. And I said, look, I'll tell you what, give me 3 of your employees and let me coach them for a month, no charge. No secret selling. Just let me coach them all for a month, the three employees. And at the end, and I coached, 3 employees, one every week for an hour. And let me coach them for an hour each week, all 3 of them. And if you see that their performance has gotten better, that their life has gotten better, that they're more engaged with their work, they're performing at a higher level, they're more happy in their work, then bring me in and let's have a conversation. And that's never not worked. So, there's many, so think about, what would you like to bring to the table? Like uniquely Paula, what would that be, Paula, for this company?
It would be centered around the well-being of people, bringing in coaching, just to really help them go quite deeply into helping them with what they're going through internally. There are peer support groups with the Kidney Foundation, but I get the sense that they only go so far, and conversations can go a lot deeper, and there are people like myself who needed those really deep conversations in that moment.
Yeah. And look, coaching is about conversation and connection. And you know how to do those things, Paula. So bring that to an organization. Coaches tell me all the time, we're going to wrap up here, everyone. Say, well, Dermot, I just, I'm out of school 6 months. I really don't know anything. And it's such rubbish, because you have, not only do you know how to ask open-ended questions, which if you could build a business just on that. You don't need to know any of the processes or any of the techniques or any of the tools. You could build a business just on that. Just sitting down and talking to another human being and having a heart-to-heart conversation where you're more curious about how they can create their own life as opposed to how can I fix them, that would be impactful. People would pay you a lot of money just for that in any organization. So email me. Let me know, Paula. Let me know how it goes. Good for you.
Yes, I will. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
You're very welcome. All right, everyone. Let's wrap it up now. In the chat box, let me see how you do this. Oh, I see. Okay. On my website, there is a talk called Slow Down to Get More Done. There's no charge for that. Go on my website, go to weekly radio show, and go to Celtic College, and download that talk and listen to it. The other talk that's on there that would be really helpful for you is, I think it's called Creating a Prosperous Coaching Business. And so some of the things that we talked about tonight are in, and it's a 1-hour talk. And listen to that a few times. It will really give you some ideas on the next steps, on what to do next. If you want to come to more of these, there's 5 of these every month. I just love doing them. And it doesn't mean you have to sign up for the program or any of that nonsense. But if that's helpful, by all means, we'll talk. But come to at least 3 of those. If you're interested in building your business, come to at least 3 of these talks. Because more importantly than your money is a commitment. Is this really, will this type of business building work for you? The Art and Science of Business starts in October, and it's on the Erickson, on the Erickson business page and on the Erickson site. There's videos on the Erickson business page. They're 5-10-minute videos of some of the things that we talked about tonight. The Zoom link that you got for this talk tonight is the same Zoom link for all the other Coaches Cafes. So come to those. You don't have to sign up every time. Just come to as many of them as you can and bring your questions, okay? Okay, the next Coaches Cafe is July 10th at 10 a.m. There's one on July 13 at 10 a.m. And then there's one July 29th at 7 p.m. and July 31st at 10 a.m. If you're interested in the program, the day after tomorrow, go to my website and there'll be all the information and the link and everything will be there. We're just posting it right now. And if you want to know anything else, you can email me at thecelticcoach@gmail.com. Until the next time, everyone, I hope to see you all again in the Coaches Cafe. And thank you so much for bringing your questions and just your curiosity for coaching. I happen to think coaching is the greatest thing on the planet. I really do. But that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. See you, everyone. Take care. Take yourselves off mute, and we'll see you all soon. Thanks, Murray. Thanks, Arlene.
Thanks a lot.
Take care, everybody. Thanks, Dermot.
Christine.
Bye-bye.
Good night, all.
Bye.
Enjoy the rest of the
Bye. Night.
Bye, all.
Take care.